18. Black actors who lost faith and went downhill. What if I told you that some of the most powerful black actors in Hollywood people once praised as legends lost everything when faith slipped through their fingers, from billion-dollar stars sent to prison to icons who walked away from fame to voices of truth who drowned in scandal? These stories will leave you stunned. This isn't just about career missteps. It's about spiritual collapse, broken trust, and Hollywood's unforgiving spotlight. Stay with us as we uncover 18 shocking downfalls you won't believe. And don't forget, subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence so you never miss these untold stories. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes once stood at the top of Hollywood, admired not only for his martial arts skills, but also for his magnetic screen presence. Films like Blade, 1998, Passenger 57, 1992, and Demolition Man, 1993, made him one of the most bankable black action stars of the 1990s, with box office revenues topping hundreds of millions worldwide. At his peak, Snipes was praised as a trailblazer who combined physical prowess with dramatic intensity, bringing diversity into blockbuster action films. But beneath the polished exterior, storms were brewing that would eventually derail his career. Part of Snipes' downfall came from his spiritual and personal choices. He became connected to the Nuwaubian Nation, a fringe religious group blending Egyptian mythology with unconventional teachings. While he never publicly confirmed how deeply involved he was, the association created unease in Hollywood circles, where any hint of extremism could mean a sudden loss of trust. Paired with his growing sense of independence from traditional structures, this spiritual detour began to shadow his reputation. The most destructive blow, however, came through financial scandal. Snipes failed to file federal income tax returns on approximately $37 million earned between 1999 and 2004, ultimately owing the IRS around $7 million. He even argued in court that federal taxes were unconstitutional. This defiance backfired badly. In 2008, after a highly publicized trial, he was convicted on 3 misdemeanor counts of willful failure to file tax returns and sentenced to 3 years in prison. From 2010 to 2013, the once beloved star was behind bars, disappearing from Hollywood, just as the industry was shifting toward new faces. Do you think Wesley Snipes could have regained his crown if he had avoided prison, or had Hollywood already moved on? When he was released, Snipes attempted a comeback with roles in The Expendables 3 and smaller projects, but the momentum of the 1990s was gone. The combination of controversial beliefs and financial ruin turned one of the brightest action icons of his generation into a cautionary tale of faith lost and opportunities squandered. Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill's rise was meteoric. From her early days with the Fugees, she stunned the world with her soulful voice and lyrical genius. Then came her solo debut, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, 1998, an album that sold over 20 million copies worldwide and won her 5 Grammy Awards in one night, including Album of the Year, making her the first woman to achieve that milestone. At just 23, she seemed destined to become one of the greatest artists of all time. But after touching such heights, Lauryn's story shifted into one of withdrawal, disillusionment, and downfall. Instead of riding her momentum, she grew wary of the very industry that celebrated her. Lauryn began speaking about spiritual awakening and the emptiness she felt in commercial success. She called the music business corrupt, manipulative, and spiritually toxic. To fans, her shift from stardom to seclusion was both shocking and confusing. Concerts became a gamble. She often arrived hours late, cut performances short, or canceled shows altogether. Once hailed as a voice of truth, she now faced criticism for being unreliable, leaving loyal supporters torn between admiration and disappointment. Do you believe Lauryn's retreat was a brave stand against a broken system? Or was it a tragic loss of artistic discipline? The collapse of her professional reputation was compounded by legal troubles. In 2012, Lauryn pleaded guilty to failing to pay nearly $1.8 million in federal taxes from 2005 to 2007, She was sentenced to 3 months in prison and released in 2013. Though she attempted a comeback with live performances and small projects, the spark of the late 1990s was gone. Instead of becoming the enduring legend she was poised to be, Lauryn Hill became a symbol of squandered potential, an artist who lost faith in the system and perhaps in herself just as the world needed her most. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard once embodied the perfect mix of intensity and charm. His breakout role in Hustle and Flow 2005 earned him an Academy Award nomination, and his performance in Crash helped secure that film's Best Picture win. For a time, he seemed unstoppable, even being cast in Marvel's Iron Man 2008, a role that could have made him a permanent fixture in the biggest franchise in cinema history. Yet Howard's path took a turn not because of a lack of talent, but because of his increasingly eccentric worldview and controversial public statements. Howard began distancing himself from traditional science, religion, and mathematics. He claimed to have developed a new theory of the universe he called teleology. One of his most bizarre assertions was that 1 + 1 = 2, not 1. He also referenced sacred geometry and the flower of life, presenting these concepts as hidden truths overlooked by scientists. While Howard believed he was uncovering universal secrets, Hollywood executives, fans, and even academics found his proclamations bewildering. Instead of being celebrated for his performances, he became a talking point for strange interviews and unconventional beliefs. Do you think Hollywood was too quick to dismiss Howard's ideas, or did his claims damage his credibility beyond repair? Professionally, Howard's erratic reputation made studios hesitant. After being replaced in the Iron Man franchise, he still found success with Fox's Empire, where he played Lucius Lyon. But even as the show dominated ratings, his off-screen reputation overshadowed his on-screen talent. Instead of riding the wave of stardom, Howard's career plateaued. The once promising star of critically acclaimed films is now remembered as much for his eccentric views as for his acting achievements, proof that when faith shifts into personal obsession, even Hollywood's brightest lights can dim. DMX. DMX-born Earl Simmons embodied raw emotion and authenticity like few others in hip-hop and film. With his gravelly voice and brutal honesty, he released 5 consecutive #1 albums between 1998 and 2003, selling more than 74 million records worldwide. His hits, like Party Up Up in Here and Rough Riders Anthem, made him a cultural icon. But unlike many rappers, DMX wore his faith on his sleeve. He often paused concerts to lead thousands in prayer, recited scripture in interviews, and confessed his desire to walk with God, even as he fought inner battles with addiction and trauma. This duality, devotion and destruction, defined his life. DMX was introduced to drugs as a teenager, and his struggle with crack cocaine haunted him for decades. Time and again, he would get clean speak about redemption, and then relapse. Legal troubles followed arrests for possession, animal cruelty, and parole violations kept him in the headlines almost as much as his music. Despite his flaws, fans admired his honesty. He never pretended to be perfect. He showed the world a man wrestling with demons while still clinging to his faith. At the same time, critics and supporters asked the same question: was DMX's faith strong enough to save him from himself? Tragically, the answer came in 2021. After a drug overdose, DMX suffered a heart attack and died at the age of 50. The world mourned not just a rapper, but a man who had always fought to reconcile light and darkness. His passing was a reminder that faith can inspire resilience, but without healing, the weight of personal struggles can be fatal. For many, DMX remains a symbol of spiritual courage and heartbreaking defeat. Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown was once a household name for Disney Channel fans. As Eddie Thomas on That's So Raven, he brought humor and charm that made him one of the most beloved young black actors of the early 2000s. His talent suggested a bright future with opportunities in both acting and music. Yet when the series ended, Orlando's life took a drastic turn. Instead of Hollywood red carpets, his name began appearing in police blotters and gossip columns. Brown's erratic behavior became a spectacle. In interviews, he made shocking claims about fellow celebrities, often speaking in riddles or incoherent sentences. Videos surfaced online showing him acting unstable, fueling speculation about his mental health. At one point, he declared that he had found God and even entered rehab, giving fans a glimmer of hope that he might stage a comeback. For a moment, it seemed possible the story of redemption was within reach. Do you think Orlando's fall was driven more by untreated mental health struggles or the brutal pressure of child stardom? Unfortunately, his progress didn't last. Brown was repeatedly arrested on charges ranging from domestic violence to drug possession. Each headline chipped away at the image fans once cherished. Hollywood, known for its short memory and quick judgments, moved on. Casting directors could not reconcile the boy next door from That's So Raven with the troubled man seen in viral outbursts. Though Brown continues to reference faith and occasionally speaks about rebuilding his life, his career has never recovered. Instead, he has become a cautionary tale about the dangers of fame at a young age, the lack of support for child actors, and the devastating cost when faith and stability cannot withstand life's chaos. Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash captivated audiences as Dionne Davenport in the cult classic Clueless 1995. With her striking looks and confident screen presence, many believed she would enjoy a long and steady Hollywood career. Early on, she spoke openly about her Christian faith and values, cultivating an image of grounded strength. But over time, her name became associated less with acting and more with controversy. Dash pivoted to political commentary, appearing frequently on Fox News. She voiced hardline conservative views, even criticizing Black History Month and condemning initiatives meant to uplift communities of color. To many, especially in the Black community, her words felt like betrayal. What had once been an actress admired for her talent became a polarizing figure whose opinions overshadowed her craft. Should celebrities risk their careers by speaking boldly about politics, or is it wiser to keep personal beliefs private? The backlash was swift and brutal. Fans distanced themselves, colleagues criticized her, and eventually Fox News severed ties. Casting directors stopped calling, and her acting career nearly vanished. Dash later admitted she had never voted before casting her ballot for Barack Obama, and then later called that choice her first mistake. Another comment that drew outrage. She also faced personal struggles, including arrests and financial troubles, which only deepened her fall from grace. Though she has spoken in recent years about seeking peace, faith, and sobriety, Stacey Dash's once promising career has not returned. What remains is the story of a talented actress whose platform was consumed by controversy, leaving behind a legacy marked more by division than by the roles that first won her fame. Kanye West. Kanye West, now legally known as Ye, was once hailed as a visionary who redefined hip-hop and fashion. With albums like The College Dropout and Graduation, he sold more than 160 million records worldwide, and at one point built a net worth estimated at $1.8 billion, largely through his Yeezy brand. Yet beyond the fame and fortune, Kanye often spoke openly about God. His 2019 album, Jesus is King, went platinum and won a Grammy for Best Contemporary Christian Album. He launched Sunday services where music, scripture, and worship blended into a cultural phenomenon. For a brief moment, it looked like faith had reshaped him into a calmer, more focused man. But the transformation unraveled. Kanye's behavior grew erratic: marathon interviews, explosive rants, and troubling social media posts. In 2022, he stunned the world with a string of anti-Semitic remarks, costing him partnerships with Adidas, Balenciaga, and Gap. Forbes quickly slashed his billionaire status, reporting he lost more than $1.5 billion in a single day. What had been seen as a man reborn through faith now looked like someone spiraling. Do you think Kanye's downfall was the result of lost faith, untreated mental health struggles, or a dangerous mix of both? Though he continues to call himself a servant of God, his actions have contradicted his words, leaving fans confused and divided. Once admired as a genius who blended spirituality with artistry, Kanye is now viewed by many as a cautionary tale of how quickly faith can fracture under the weight of ego instability and unchecked power. Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker's career was nothing short of explosive. After Friday, 1995 made him a cult star, the Rush Hour trilogy turned him into one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood. By 2007, he was earning $25 million per film, making him the world's top-paid actor at the time. His sharp comedic timing and charismatic energy seemed destined to keep him at the top of the game. But just as quickly as he rose, Tucker made a life choice that altered his trajectory forever. In the early 2000s, Tucker became deeply devoted to his Christian faith. While this gave him peace, it reshaped his career. He began refusing roles that involved profanity, drugs, or characters he felt conflicted with his values. He famously turned down future Friday sequels because he didn't want to play a character associated with marijuana. Though admirable on a personal level, these decisions removed him from the very type of roles that had built his career. Should artists sacrifice career opportunities to stay true to their faith, or try to balance both worlds? As a result, Tucker virtually vanished from Hollywood for years. He performed occasional stand-up shows and took minor roles like in Silver Linings Playbook 2012, but the blockbuster era of his career was gone. By the time he tried to re-enter the industry, new comedians and actors had replaced him in the spotlight. Today, Chris Tucker is remembered not only for his hilarious performances, but also for how faith, while giving him integrity, came at the cost of Hollywood relevance. His story reflects the delicate balance between spiritual conviction and the unforgiving demands of stardom. Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding Jr. seemed destined for greatness after his Oscar-winning performance in Jerry Maguire 1996. His heartfelt cry of "Show me the money" became one of the most iconic lines in film history, and audiences adored his charm. In the years that followed, he appeared in Men of Honor and Pearl Harbor, cementing his status as a respected leading man. But over time, his movie choices became questionable. He starred in poorly received projects like Snow Dogs and boat trip films that critics ridiculed and fans quickly forgot. The Golden Boy image began to crack. The most devastating blow came not from bad scripts, but from his personal conduct. Starting in 2019, more than 30 women accused Gooding of sexual misconduct, with allegations ranging from inappropriate touching to groping in bars and nightclubs. He denied many of the claims, but in 2022, he pleaded guilty to one charge of forcibly touching a woman. To avoid jail time, he agreed to court-ordered counseling and conditions of good behavior. Though he remained free, his reputation was shattered. Can an actor ever rebuild trust once their public image has been permanently tainted by such allegations? The scandal erased much of the goodwill he had built over decades. Instead of red carpets, headlines focused on his legal battles and outbursts at public events. Hollywood is notoriously unforgiving when reputations sour, and the industry quickly distanced itself. Offers dried up, and the man who once embodied warmth and charisma became synonymous with controversy. Cuba Gooding Jr.'s story shows how fast admiration can turn to disappointment when faith in one's character is lost both personally and professionally. Monique. Monique began as a fearless comedian who won audiences with her unapologetic humor and authenticity. Her performance in Precious 2009 was nothing short of groundbreaking, earning her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. It should have been the start of a flourishing career in Hollywood. Instead, it marked the beginning of a painful clash with the industry's power brokers. Monique accused heavyweights like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels of blackballing her because she refused to promote Precious for free during awards season. She claimed her outspokenness and refusal to play Hollywood's political game led to doors being slammed shut. While others saw her as difficult, Monique framed her stance as a matter of integrity and faith, choosing truth over compromise. Do you think Monique was punished for standing up for fairness, Or did her defiance alienate the very people who could have advanced her career? The consequences were brutal. Instead of capitalizing on her Oscar win, she found herself sidelined, with major studios avoiding her. For years, she performed mostly in stand-up comedy and smaller shows, constantly reminding audiences that she had been treated unjustly. Her public battles made her both admired and criticized. Admired for her courage, criticized for her bluntness. In recent years, she has begun a slow comeback, appearing in projects like BMF and a Netflix comedy special after a highly publicized lawsuit settlement. Still, her career never reached the heights expected after her Oscar moment. Monique's story is a stark reminder that in Hollywood, faith in one's principles may preserve integrity, but it can also come at the cost of opportunity. Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese Gibson's career began with gospel and R&B, his smooth voice earning him respect as both a singer and actor. He rose to fame in films like Baby Boy 2001 and became a mainstay of the Fast and Furious franchise, playing Roman Pierce while also releasing platinum-selling albums. His image early on was clean and rooted in faith. He often spoke about God, family, and staying grounded despite fame. Yet behind that confident exterior, his personal life grew increasingly turbulent. Gibson went through painful divorces, and instead of keeping matters private, he aired them publicly on social media. Videos of him crying, ranting, and pleading for custody of his daughter went viral. While some sympathized with his pain, others felt his oversharing bordered on emotional instability. His vulnerability, once seen as a strength, became a source of ridicule. Do you think Tyrese's public meltdowns were an authentic cry for help, or did they damage the dignity he once carried as an entertainer of faith? Adding to his troubles, Gibson clashed with co-stars like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, accusing him of betraying the Fast and Furious family. His feuds and dramatic online posts made headlines as often as his films. Meanwhile, financial troubles, including reports of near bankruptcy, added more weight to his downward spiral. Despite consistently invoking God in interviews, the contrast between his words and actions left many fans questioning his sincerity. Tyrese remains active in music and film, but his brand has shifted. Instead of being remembered solely for his talent, he has become equally known for his public meltdowns and controversies. His story illustrates how quickly credibility can erode when faith is overshadowed by personal chaos. Tasha Smith. Tasha Smith built a reputation as one of Tyler Perry's go-to actresses, known for fiery performances in films like Why Did I Get Married and Daddy's Little Girls. Her ability to portray raw, relatable characters made her a fan favorite, and off-screen she often spoke about her Christian values, even working as a motivational speaker. For a while she embodied resilience, faith, and professional success, but her personal life soon pulled her into a storm she could not escape. Smith's marriage to entrepreneur Keith Douglas became a public disaster. She accused him of deception, claiming he misrepresented his past and manipulated her into a relationship. After a bitter legal battle, her marriage was annulled in 2015, essentially erased as though it had never happened. Douglas countered with accusations of his own, painting a messy and very public portrait of betrayal and mistrust. When you see celebrities go through public relationship drama, do you feel sympathy for them? Or does it make you lose respect for their image? The ordeal damaged Smith's public persona. Once a symbol of empowerment, she now found herself discussed in tabloids more for courtroom battles than her acting. Though she continued to work, the narrative around her shifted from faith-filled motivator to scandal-surrounded actress. Hollywood can be unforgiving, and while she maintained smaller roles and directing work, the peak of her mainstream visibility faded. Today, Smith still commands respect for her talent and honesty, but her story stands as a reminder of how personal turmoil can overshadow professional achievements. For someone who once projected the image of spiritual strength, the collapse of her marriage in such a public, humiliating way left scars on her career and her legacy. Kel Mitchell. For millions who grew up watching Nickelodeon in the 1990s, Kel Mitchell was pure joy. From Keenan and Kel to Good Burger, his goofy energy and comedic timing made him one of the most beloved young black entertainers of his generation. When the spotlight faded, Mitchell shocked fans by choosing a very different path. He became a pastor, motivational speaker, and author. In interviews, he admitted Hollywood success had left him empty, and he credited God with saving his life. His 2020 book, Blessed Mode, shared his testimony of finding peace through faith, inspiring many who struggled with similar issues. For a while, Mitchell's story felt like a rare, happy ending, a child star avoiding the pitfalls of fame by finding spiritual purpose. He led Bible studies preached in churches and used social media to share uplifting messages. Fans admired his transformation and respected his decision to dedicate himself to God. But soon, controversy surfaced. His ex-wife, Taisha Hampton, accused him of infidelity, emotional abuse, and using religion as a mask for hypocrisy. She claimed the Kel the public saw was not the same man she knew behind closed doors. Although Mitchell denied her allegations, the damage to his image was significant. Do you think a pastor's past mistakes should permanently define them, or can faith truly redeem someone in the eyes of the public? The accusations cast doubt on his authenticity, and suddenly his story of redemption was clouded with suspicion. While Kel still enjoys support from fans and continues to minister, he has struggled to shake the narrative of scandal. For someone who once seemed to have escaped Hollywood's dark cycle, Mitchell's journey shows that even a life rooted in faith can unravel when personal controversies come to light. Lisa Bonet. Lisa Bonet became a household name in the 1980s as Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show. With her bohemian style and cool, independent aura, she quickly became a cultural icon. But unlike her co-stars, Bonet was never interested in conforming to Hollywood's expectations. Early in her career, she embraced mysticism, spirituality, and alternative lifestyles, often speaking about personal truth and the energy of the universe. To some, she was refreshingly authentic. To others, she seemed too unconventional for mainstream success. Her career took a dramatic turn with Angel Heart 1987, a controversial sexually explicit film that clashed with her wholesome sitcom image. Bill Cosby, famously protective of The Cosby Show brand, was reportedly outraged. Soon after, Bonet's role on the show was reduced, and she was eventually written out. Instead of pursuing fame aggressively, she chose privacy raising her children, including actress Zoe Kravitz, and focusing on her own spiritual path. Do you think Hollywood punished Lisa Bonet for staying true to herself, or did her refusal to play by the rules cost her the longevity she deserved? By the 1990s, Bonet was largely absent from the screen, appearing occasionally in indie projects, but never regaining her early prominence. While she never experienced the kind of scandal that destroyed other stars, her rejection of Hollywood norms meant her career quietly slipped away. Instead of a traditional downfall marked by crime or controversy, Bonet's decline came through self-exile, choosing faith in personal freedom over the rigid structures of stardom. Today, she remains admired for her individuality, but her story is bittersweet. Once a rising star with the potential to dominate television and film, Lisa Bonet instead became a reminder of what happens when Hollywood and personal conviction collide and the industry chooses to move on. Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett was once on the verge of superstardom. As Jamal Lyon on Fox's Empire, he was celebrated for breaking barriers, playing a gay black character with vulnerability and strength. His acting and singing talents earned him admiration from fans and critics alike. Smollett positioned himself as a voice for justice, often speaking about faith, equality, and resilience in the face of discrimination. But in 2019, his story took a shocking turn that would forever overshadow his career. Smollett reported to police that he had been the victim of a brutal hate crime in Chicago. According to his claims, 2 masked men hurled racist and homophobic slurs, assaulted him, poured chemicals on him, and tied a noose around his neck. The news ignited outrage nationwide. Celebrities and politicians rushed to his defense, seeing him as a symbol of the dangers minorities still face. But weeks later, police alleged that Smollett had staged the attack himself, paying 2 acquaintances to help carry out the hoax. Should the public forgive someone who fakes victimhood if they later admit their mistake, or is trust too deeply broken? Smollett denied the accusations, but evidence mounted, and in 2021, he was convicted of filing a false police report. Though sentenced to 150 days in jail, he served only 6 before being released pending appeal. By then, the damage was done. Fox cut ties with him and studios avoided his name. Once a rising star with faith-driven messaging, he became a punchline, his credibility destroyed. Jussie Smollett's downfall is a stark example of how quickly the loss of integrity and the manipulation of faith and justice can turn admiration into disdain. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg has long been considered a legend. An EGOT winner holding an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, she built her career on authenticity, humor, and truth. Roles in The Color Purple and Sister Act made her one of Hollywood's most versatile actresses. Throughout her career, she often spoke about spirituality, not tied to strict religion, but grounded in belief in a higher power and the importance of compassion. For decades, she was admired for her wisdom and sharp wit. But in recent years, her reputation has been tested by controversy. Goldberg's role as co-host on The View gave her a platform to discuss social and political issues daily. While her candor won her fans, it also created backlash. In 2022, she made comments about the Holocaust, suggesting it was not about race, sparking outrage worldwide. Though she quickly apologized, ABC suspended her for 2 weeks. For many, the incident tarnished the thoughtful, grounded persona she had spent years building. Do you think Goldberg's slip-ups are signs of someone losing touch? Or just the inevitable risk of speaking candidly in today's climate? Beyond the Holocaust remarks, other controversial statements have left fans divided. Some see her as bold and unfiltered. Others believe she has become too combative, undermining the spiritual grace she once embodied. While Goldberg remains a household name, the luster of her legacy has dulled for some. Her story is not one of legal downfall or scandalous collapse, but rather of a slow erosion of trust as words overshadow wisdom. Once seen as a guiding voice, Whoopi Goldberg now stands as an example of how even legends can falter when faith in balance and humility gives way to unchecked opinion. Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Washington rose to fame as Dr. Preston Burke on Grey's Anatomy, one of the biggest medical dramas of the 2000s. His portrayal of the brilliant but stern surgeon earned him critical praise and a loyal fan base. At the height of his career, Washington stood as one of the most respected black actors on television. But in 2006, his world shifted after reports surfaced that he had used a homophobic slur against co-star T.R. Knight during an on-set dispute. The incident exploded into headlines, drawing widespread outrage from fans, the LGBTQ+ community, and fellow actors. Initially, Washington apologized, but he later denied using the slur during a press event, reigniting the controversy. The damage was irreparable. ABC cut ties with him in 2007, writing his character out of Grey's Anatomy. The fallout was swift, offers dried up, and his reputation went from admired to radioactive in Hollywood. Do you think Washington deserved a second chance after his apology, or was the offense too serious for Hollywood to forgive? After leaving the show, Washington claimed he was being blackballed because of his Christian beliefs and refusal to conform to Hollywood's politics. While he did find smaller roles in shows like The 100, the momentum he once had was gone. Instead of being known for his talent, he became associated with scandal, online rants, and public bitterness. What could have been a long, decorated television career collapsed almost overnight. Isaiah Washington's story shows how words spoken in anger can destroy trust, and how losing faith and accountability can turn opportunity into exile. Gary Dourdan. Gary Dourdan's breakout came with CSI Crime Scene Investigation, where he played Warwick Brown, a cool, composed investigator who quickly became a fan favorite. At its peak, CSI was watched by over 20 million viewers per week, and Dourdan seemed poised for a bright future. Yet behind the fame, he struggled with personal demons that eventually unraveled his career. After leaving the show in 2008, Dourdan's troubles became public. He was arrested multiple times for drug possession, including cocaine and ecstasy. Reports also surfaced of domestic violence incidents further damaging his image. What once looked like the career of a rising star descended into mugshots and court appearances. Should Hollywood show more compassion to stars battling addiction, or are studios right to protect their image at all costs? In addition to legal woes, financial collapse followed. By 2012, Durden filed for bankruptcy, claiming he owed more than $1.7 million in debt. The combination of addiction arrests and money problems turned him from a polished TV star into a cautionary tale of squandered opportunity. Though he later attempted a return through independent films and TV cameos, he never regained the stature he once held on CSI. Durden's fall is tragic because it didn't come from lack of talent. His skill was undeniable. Instead, it stemmed from losing faith in his ability to overcome inner struggles. His story remains a painful reminder that even the most promising stars can collapse when personal battles outshine professional brilliance. Fame may look like a blessing, but as we've seen, even the brightest stars can lose their way when faith is shaken and personal battles take control. These 18 black actors remind us that talent alone cannot protect someone from downfall. Some sought redemption, others never found peace, and all left us with hard lessons about fame, faith, and fragility. But now we want to hear from you whose story shocked you the most, and do you believe true faith can ever bring them back? Let's talk in the comments below on Legends of Black Excellence.